Hello, I'm Dr. Louise, and this is Dr. Louise Thinks, a channel dedicated to helping everyday folks connect with the healing power of philosophy. If you watched last week's video, you know that I've been thinking about friendship lately. I've been privileged enough to witness some of the best parts of friendship recently within my own community. But this week, I began to ponder if there are any downsides to friendship. And after spending some time at the library, I discovered that a few philosophers have wondered the same thing. In Western philosophy, a lot of the conversation around friendship has centered on the idea that having friends can help you be morally good. You might recall Aristotle's mirror view from last week, where friendship allows us to see our own morally good qualities embodied in another person, and we can thus learn how to live by these qualities to a greater extent through the friendship. And this is a beautiful picture of friendship. It warms the heart to imagine that in the very act of being friends with another, it helps a lot of us grow and become better people. But it also sounds a little suspicious to me. I don't know about you, but I've had a friend or two over the years who has, at least on occasion, encouraged me to indulge in a vice or two. Whether it was drinking too much in the tourist district of Kathmandu, having a bit too many indulgences at a grad school party, or staying out way later than was for the greater good, my friends are not always the paradigm of good choices. And at times, this is a part of the reason I enjoy being with and having friends. Sometimes I value being a little bit reckless. And sometimes I'm so lucky to have a few folks close to me who are willing to facilitate. But how does this relate to the idea that friendship helps us be better people? It feels like on this kind of account, I would have to say in these instances, I was not being a good friend, or maybe these relationships were not actually ones of friendship. But this seems patently false. Going to a party and enjoying myself with my friends and doing the activities in a way that they were offered, that certainly seems like exactly what a good friend would do, right? In Friendship and Moral Danger, Dean Cocking and Jeanette Kennet explore the dark side of friendship. They remind us of the common joke that a friend will help you move house, while a good friend will help you move a body. If our conception of friendship demands that it be a vehicle for moral self-examination and character improvement, it does not seem like a good friend would help you move a body. But this joke points out what Cocking and Kennet argue is totally our ordinary, everyday conception of friendship. These philosophers are arguing that the classic Western philosophic move of locating the good of friendship in morality is misguided. They say, quote, "Much of the good of friendship itself and of what we have reason to do within it has little, if anything, to do with morality." The thought here is that on the traditional, highly moralized account of friendship, a good friend cannot lead us morally astray because, by definition, a true and good friendship depends fully on the relationship's moral qualities. Cocking and Kennet propose an alternative way to understand friendship that they argue can accommodate why a good friend will help you move a body. As we discussed in last week's video, they claim that a defining feature of friendship is that friends are receptive to being directed and interpreted. Being directed by a friend means you are open to engaging in activities that your friend is interested in, simply because your friend is interested in that activity. Right here, you might start developing an interest in opera simply because your friend likes the opera. Being interpreted by your friend means that your friend will reflect back to you a kind of analysis or commentary on who you are. Your friend's interpretation of you then becomes a data point you use to understand yourself. Thus, quote, the self in friendship is in part a relationship thing that is developed and modeled through friendship. This willingness to be directed and interpreted within a friendship context is a big part of the reason friendship in general can be transformational. While traditionally Western accounts have focused on how this transformation can be positive, usually in a moral sense, Cocking and Kennet point out that it is equally possible for friendship to be transformative in a bad way. Consider my earlier comment about recklessness. At times, I desire being reckless, and I may even admire my friends insofar as they are reckless. Keep in mind, recklessness is not normally considered something morally good. Because being reckless may be something I admire about my friends, and because it is this recklessness that might structure the ways in which we relate to each other and the activities that we share together, our friendship has the potential to transform me into the kind of person that more regularly engages in reckless behavior. According to Kennet and Cocking, I'm just as likely to be directed by your interest in gambling at the casino as I am in your interest in ballet. On this account of friendship, friends may be just as inclined to accept from each other interpretations that highlight their minor vices in some attractive way as ones that present them as fundamentally good. Let's suppose, hypothetically, that I am an extremely promiscuous person. I flirt with everyone who comes near me, and I am not shy about it. My friend may interpret this promiscuity as cool, and that interpretation alone might change both my self-conception, wow, I am such a cool flirt, and my reasons for action. So the next time I'm considering flirting with someone, but I'm not sure if I should do it, I may decide to take the action to flirt because I know my friend thinks it's cool when I do so. Now, we can talk about whether being promiscuous is morally good or bad or neutral, but either way, the friendship relationship is having a transformative effect on me that is certainly not focused exclusively on what is morally good. Cocking and Kennet make space for the fact that we can be a perfectly good friend. At the very same time, we may not be a morally perfect friend. Consider a case where I decide to break a promise with my coworker. I promised last week that I was going to go to drinks with this coworker after work on Tuesday. But an hour before the workday ends on Tuesday, my friend texts me asking if I want to go to the movies together. The morally praiseworthy thing for me to do in this case would be to keep my promise to my coworker and go for drinks. But I might prefer to spend time with my friends, and doing things like going to the movies together is exactly the kind of thing good friends do together. So I decide to break my promise to my coworker. I lie and tell them that I'm not feeling well, so I need to go straight home after work. And instead of going home, I drive straight to the movie theater where my friend is waiting for me. In this case, I am being a good friend, but I am not a morally perfect friend. Here we can see how friendship has a dark side. Unlike the accounts where friendship only helps us become more morally perfect, Cocking and Kennet's account shows us why it is that sometimes our friends can make us less than morally outstanding citizens. This has some real implications for those of us out here trying to figure out who our friends should be. While Aristotle's mirror account suggested we should seek out friends who are more similar to us so that we can learn more about ourselves through watching them, Cocking and Kennet suggest we need not prioritize similarity or even moral goodness when we are seeking friends. Instead, on their account, what we have to be mindful of is that this friendship dynamic puts us in a position to be interpreted and directed by our friends. This is where the transformative power of friendship lies, but it means that anyone we have a friendship with has the potential to transform us in negative ways. So when we are choosing friends, we need to be aware that their vices have the potential to become our vices. If we notice vices in our friends which are deeply opposed to our system of beliefs or our sense of morality, we may need to exercise caution. To be in friendship with someone, at least on Cocking and Kennet's account, requires a certain kind of vulnerability. Because we are open to being directed and interpreted by this friend, we are open to being transformed accordingly. What do you think about the dark side of friendship? Do you think the fact that friends can transform you both for the good and for the bad is a reason to select your friends carefully? I want to hear your thoughts below in the comments. If you enjoyed this adventure through practical philosophy, be sure to like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And until next time, stay curious, live meaningfully, and keep asking those questions. Bye-bye.